Hi everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to show you how to use a layered template that I am providing for a limited time for free to teach you how to create a hybrid scrapbook page. You will need to download the template package from my blog, and it will come in a zipped format, and you will need to unzip it in order to use it. This tutorial is for users of Photoshop or Photoshop Elements. I'm going to record this tutorial using the oldest version of Photoshop that I have that I think will be appropriate, and that is Photoshop Elements 13. The reason I'm doing this is not everybody keeps up with the latest and greatest, and the steps are pretty basic, even if you have the most current version of Photoshop Elements. And also if you're using full Photoshop, the Creative Cloud version, the steps I'm going to show you are basically the same, and if you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email at cathy@cathyzielske.com for help. All right, let's get into it. The first thing you're going to need to do is locate your download. Now, I'm going to go File Open here, and my downloads will appear in the aptly named Downloads folder. When I click on this, there are a few things in here. There is a how-to PDF, and this just gives you some basic step-by-step instruction along with a link for the free font that I'm using. If you want to use that font, great. If not, your computer will substitute a font of its own. The template itself, the preview package, which just easily lets you see what the file looks like, and my terms of use. So I'm going to click on the layered file, that's the .psd, and click Open. Now when I open this, again, if you don't have these fonts on your computer, I always design my templates with free fonts. You might get a font error message and it will say you don't have the font and would you like to update the layer? Just click OK, because you can change the font for the journaling to be whatever you want. Now if you look over here on the right, if you don't see your layers palette, you'll want to go to Window and make sure Layers is open. You're going to see that every single item in this template resides on its own layer. And that, let's actually click this on. I'm going to show you this because this will not be in your download. When I turn this on, this is the overlay of the actual template that I used to create this design. Sometimes I will do this when I've got a physical page and I will overlay it, screen it back, and it helps me to design the template. So I'm going to go ahead and click Delete because we don't need that. Now, if you're an accomplished digital scrapbooker, you know exactly what to do with this design, but the design is set up for a 4x6, or I should say 6x4 photo, and you can add in whatever types of embellishments you like once you get your journaling printed out. The main thing with hybrid is to use templates just so that you have the core design set up, and all you're going to have to do is go in and type your journaling. All of the other layers are basically, well, superfluous, I guess. You don't need them, and we're going to turn them all off. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in my photo because I want to show you how to pop a photo into your template, and it might help you as you are creating and writing your journaling. So the first thing I like to do, click on my target layer. Now, Photoshop will allow you to click onto elements and select them. You have to have an element selected in order to modify it in any way. So I'm clicking on the gray photo mask. This is just a placeholder shape that I will bring my photo into. Now I need to get my photo. So I'm going to go Command on the Mac or Control on the PC and O for Open. And I'm going to go out to my desktop where I have a folder here already set up. And I'm going to do a photo that I took of a family Zoom meeting, happy hour that we had. I'm going to click Open here. Now this is not a fantastic quality photo. I converted it to black and white because it's just, it's just okay. It's not great. But what I'm going to do is quickly get this into the template itself. And here's a quick shortcut. If you come over to your layer and you right click, on a Mac, it's I know how to right click. A PC, it's a little easier, but right click and you're going to get Duplicate Layer. When that comes up, you have some choices, and I'm going to click on the destination and go to 186. Now you can copy and paste so many different ways, but this is just a quickie quick. Click OK. I'm going to close that down. And if you see here now, that image, which is actually now called background because that's what it was called when I opened the file, it's now inside my template. Now, I have already sized my photo to be a 4x6, so I don't need to size this down. But if this photo were much larger, all you would need to do is just click on a corner to size in or crop out to make it the proper size. Now I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want to do that. But once your photo's in, now this is sized perfectly, but if it wasn't and you wanted to actually clip it into the mask below, you would come over to the Layers palette, hover your mouse, hold down either your Option key on a Mac or Alt key on a PC until you get this little icon. It's a square with a little arrow pointing down. What this is telling you is that when you click, it's going to clip your photo image into the layer below. And when I click, you will see this shifts over to the right a little, and that lets you know this is now inside the mask. Now, here's a little thing you can do just to confirm. If you start moving this around, see how that works? You are contained inside the mask. I'm going to make this a little bigger just so you can see. See that? It's all contained. Now I'm going to be printing this photo separately, not from this template. I'm going to print it just as a 4x6 on my little PictureMate printer. But I show you this just because that is how you can pop a photo into your template. Now, the next thing we're going to do, the only layer I want to work with right now is journaling, because I'm going to tell a story about what is going on right now in the world at large. So I'm going to go ahead and you can come and grab your zoom tool, or if you hold down, let's see, is it, I think it's Command spacebar or Control spacebar. See that little plus sign? That means you can click and drag around something to make it bigger. I love being able to see what I am doing when I am journaling. Now this font is Open Sans. If I select here and you'll look down at the bottom, or if you have an older version of Photoshop Elements, it will appear at the top. You can see that I have this font, Open Sans Regular. It's a really basic free font. I kind of love it. It looks great, but if you don't like this font, you can change it to be whatever you like. So I'm going to click in here and just go Command or Control and the letter A, the key A. That will highlight all of my journaling at once. You can also just click and drag, just old school, just like you would in a Word doc. Now, because I have a bold weight and a light weight in the same block, nothing shows up here down at the bottom. So I'm going to go in and type my favorite font, which is, let's spell it correctly, which is Avenir. And I'm going to go to Avenir Roman and click to select it, and then I'm going to hit the check mark. You can change to whatever font you want, and then you can also go back over. You can faux bold the first line. I can click on faux bold and make that look a little bold. Here, I'll show you what that looks like. But I don't like doing that when I actually have the bold fonts. So I am going to click in here, and I'm just going to choose Avenir. Oh, actually, I could come down here and do this Avenir, and I'm going to go to black to have the boldest first line. Now my journaling is ready to type, so I'm going to go ahead and type this off camera, and then I'm going to talk about how to print it out. I've gone ahead and added in all of my journaling. One of the things that I did was I also bolded the first line of type and bolded and all capped the date. I like to do this because it adds a little bit of visual contrast to the journal block. This is quite a large journal block, if you will, and one of the things that I like to do in my templates is set up a decent amount of leading. Leading is the space between the lines of type, and when you have a larger amount of leading, as I do here, it makes your journal block easier to read. So now it's time to get this ready to print, and there's a couple ways you can do this. First, I'm going to go Command or Control numeral 0. That will give me the full page view so I can see my whole file. Now you can come over to your Layers palette and just start clicking on the eyeballs to turn it off, okay? That's one way, but then you have to click through all of them, and I don't know of a way you can turn them all off at once. So here's another shortcut. Click on your journal blocks. You can easily locate it in the Layers palette. Right click and just go Duplicate Layer. Now what I'm going to do here under Destination is choose New. And when I do, I'm going to click OK. And you will see it created a brand new document with just the journaling. Now that checkerboard background, if that's bugging you, all you need to do is add a new layer. Let's see here. I am going to come to Layers palette, and I'm not sure how to add a new layer, so let's see. How do I add a new layer? No. There we go. Click on the new layer. I'm going to drag it below, just like that. And then I'm going to come over here to the color control, which mine is set to black and white. If you don't have black and white here, I think if you just click the little default icon here, you'll get it. But I'm going to flip it so the white's forward. I'm going to grab my paint bucket tool and click. And that will just fill that background layer with color so that I can actually see my journaling, and now it's ready to print. So I am going to send this file to print on a piece of Neenah Solar White Classic Crest 80-pound weight cardstock, and I'm going to print it on my inkjet printer. And once I have that printed out, we are ready to move into the physical build of this page. I'll see you on the craft table. I've got my photo already printed out, and I'm actually going to trim that down a little bit and remount it on some cardstock. I'm going to set that aside for now. And here is my journaling just printed out onto the paper. Now I want to show you something. Here is the original page that inspired all of this today, the simple 6x4 photo. I added pattern paper off to the side and little embellishments, but I'm going to go in a different direction for the page I'm creating today. I have this little stencil set from Simon Says Stamp that I love, and I'm actually going to put a card up in the right here. If you want to see a master card maker use this, and this is what inspired me to get this set and play with it, I will link to Laura Basson's video, because I thought I would take her approach to adding a rainbow, but that is going to be what I place down the side instead of pattern paper. So I used my T-square just to get a straight line and grab my blender brushes. Now these are from Picket Fence Studio and Simon Says Stamp, but I want to show you the clips. These clips are from Make It by Marco. I think they're called Brush Buddies. And the nice thing is they let you color code your brushes. I don't always wash my brushes between each use, and so having one brush dedicated for reds or pinks or yellow, even if you're using multiple shades, it really helps to not mess up ink blending. So let's start ink blending. I'm going to speed this way up because you'll get the gist of what I'm doing pretty quickly here, right? I am going to create a rainbow of color. Just washing off each one with a damp stamp chamois, and I'm going to mix and match these leaf stencils just to create the cascade of color. And I'm working in rainbow order, so it's kind of hard to mess it up. Well, I mean, it's not, you can mess it up, and I do make a few little glitches here and there, but I'm going to fix those later. I just wanted to create this range of color. Now, like I said, a piece of pattern paper would look great here. Other embellishments that you may have, you can create a whole band that moves down the page. But I like this, and I really love these Distress ink colors. They're so creamy and beautiful, and the way they dry, I absolutely love these little cubes. Great investment if you're looking for colors to have. Distress inks are fantastic. So I'm finishing my rainbow all the way down, filling in with the smaller little leaf where needed, but that's it. That is the color on my page. Now, see that little bit of yellow there? This is, and I have a little red too. Just wanted to show you the mono sand eraser. If you make errors on a scrapbook page or even a card with inks and whatnot, the sand eraser is pretty great for cleaning it up, because what it will do is it's just going to take off the top layer of the paper, and if you go gently enough, eventually you don't really see it. So sand eraser, great tool. Next, I'm going to cut down my white piece of cardstock here because I want to take a 1/2 inch off one side and 1/4 off the top and the bottom, because I want to be able to have this matted onto a piece of black cardstock, and that way it'll give me a really nice framing space around the edges. See that? I use white cardstock a lot in my scrapbooking, and so mounting it down onto something darker just gives it a nice frame. So I'll just take a little dot runner here, put that all over the back. I had to bring in some gray cardstock because I could not see against the black. That's one of the drawbacks of having a black work surface. But there you go. Well, we're going to switch to white now. So I've got the general layout, and I found this in my stash. This is from a SCT sampler from Scrapbooking Cards Today magazine. It's a nice little foam adhesive backed element with glitter, and I thought the word gather was great. I also grabbed some dies here. These are from Simon Says Stamp, and I cut out a cascade of rainbow color, both large and small, to add just a little embellishment to the page. And then I cut out my banner at the top using one of my everyday sentiment banners from Lawn Fawn. I added some foam tape to the back of my photo, and what I did with this as well is I trimmed it down a little and then remounted it on some white cardstock just to give it a little heft. And I will line it up here using my T-square to make sure it's nice and straight. And now I'll start adhering the elements. I'm just going to glue down the banner, and I will put that right on the cardstock. I'm going to peel off the backer. This is a very delicate little title, but I really did think it was fun. I love the glitter, and it's glitter that does not come off on your hands, and that's my favorite kind of glitter actually. I'm just gently laying this down and placing it. I think that looks really cute. I'll put my hearts down. I also put a little bit of thin foam adhesive. These are from Scrapbook Adhesives. It's a really great thin foam square, because I want to have just a tiny bit of dimension. I don't go all in for dimension on scrapbook pages. I don't want bulky albums. I don't want pages to have more stuff than they need. And so this is a very simple way to add a little bit of rainbow repetition across my page. The journaling is in place, the story has been told, and hopefully this helps you to understand how you can take any digital template and use it as a base for a scrapbook page. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.